run?
When I ran in 1991, I served you between 1991 and 2006. The previous 3 to 4 years before I ran, the taxes were at 5% on an annual basis increase. We're back at 5% again. And I left thinking that we were in a sustainable position, and now we're not. And so I've come back. Well, I think we have to get ourselves on a sustainable economic path, whether that's our budget situation, whether it's economic development, whether it's residential and commercial development. We need to make sure that the revenues that are coming in are sustainable. We've got to make sure that our costs are sustainable.
What do you see as the issues for Ward 2?
Ward 2's issues are kind of interesting. I mean, you've got an area of the community that is 40 years old. You've got an area of the community that is just being built at this point in time, and so there are some subtle differences. In terms of services, they're very similar in terms of the need for a transit option and in terms of needs for basic services like snow removal, for example, and parks and recreation programs. Infrastructure is a little bit different, and we need to make sure that the infrastructure in the older part of town is maintained to a level that is consistent with what is being constructed in the new part of the community. You don't ever want to see a situation arise where in one part of the ward the infrastructure is falling down and people aren't being well served and supported, while at the other end of town, it's fine. You want to see some consistency.
How would you bring better jobs to Milton?
That's a very difficult thing. Because Milton by itself does not control the environment for job creation. We're part of a provincial structure, we're part of a national structure. But what Milton can do in the interim, and as we await the province to the point where it's getting its financial act together, as well as the federal government, locally we've got to make sure that commercial, retail, and industrial property taxes are affordable, are reasonable. We have to make sure that we have the infrastructure in place for either new commercial development or existing redevelopment. We get those things right, that goes a long way towards making us a good place. The biggest challenge has been infrastructure. Halton Region has not brought on infrastructure in a timely fashion. To think that Britannia Road has still not been constructed. It should have been constructed 15 years ago. They were still putting the finishing touches on Dairy Road a month ago. These are important arterial roads for our community that we have no control over. It's another level of government, but it's absolutely critical to how this town operates. The region needs to step up in terms of its investment in Milton. The province of Ontario needs to step up in terms of its investment in Ontario, and the federal government needs to do the same thing. I will say, first of all, that I don't see any redeeming social value associated with the legalization of marijuana. Do I think it should be decriminalized? Yes, I do. But the decision is made by the Government of Canada. It's going to be legal next week. I accept that. They have that authority. However, if it comes to pass that the province of Ontario does grant Milton the right to opt out, I will be supportive of us opting out. I just don't see the value and the need to have that kind of retail environment in our community. There are other ways of accessing marijuana for those who wish to use it. Online is how we're going to be accessing that product until next April, and so that could remain a viable option for those who want to use that product. In the interim, as soon as the new council is sworn in, there is an urgent need to take a look at all the legislative requirements that we have to meet with respect to the legalization of that product, so that neighborhoods are protected, so that kids in a school playground are protected, so that there is a very clear separation between that retail environment and a neighborhood environment or a school environment